Welcome to another edition of Possibilities, the official podcast of the Michigan Developmental Disabilities Institute, also known as MI-DDI. I'm your host, Roosevelt Belton Jr., Dissemination Coordinator here at MI-DDI. This episode is a special one because we're focusing on assistive technology in honor of Assistive Technology Awareness Month. And you're going to hear from two specialists on assistive technology. First, Sarah Healy, a disability advocate with Disability Rights Michigan. And later, Caitlin Hurban, an assistive technology specialist in augmentative and alternative communication with the Michigan Assistive Technology Program. We'll begin with Sarah as we explore the important role Disability Rights Michigan plays in supporting people who are looking for access to assistive technology. So, Sarah Healy, welcome to Possibilities. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me here today.
Absolutely. So, just starting off, could you introduce yourself and your role at Disability Rights Michigan, especially how your work connects to assistive technology?
Sure. Well, like you said, my name is Sarah Healy. I'm an advocate with Disability Rights Michigan. Disability Rights Michigan is the independent, private, nonprofit, nonpartisan protection and advocacy organization authorized by federal and state law to advocate and protect the legal rights of people with disabilities in Michigan. So one of the federal grants DRM receives is the Assistive Technology Grant. This enables us to provide information, referrals, or direct advocacy to people with disabilities who are facing barriers in access to AT or AT-related services such as evaluations or AT repairs. I've been with DRM for over 10 years, and over the past several years, much of my work has been under the AT grant. A big part of my role involves helping people navigate complex systems when they're trying to obtain their assistive technology, such as Medicare and Medicaid. And that could be anything from a power wheelchair to communication devices or home modifications. I also do a lot of work around accessibility under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. I do this to help people address barriers in public spaces, employment, and services. A lot of times, these two areas overlap. I mean, someone might have the right equipment, but if a building, program, or policy isn't accessible, they still can't participate, not fully. Assistive technology helps the person, but the ADA helps to remove the barriers in the environment. And you really need both for true success.
And for listeners who may not be familiar, how would you describe Disability Rights Michigan's information and referral process, especially when someone needs help with assistive technology?
When you contact Disability Rights Michigan, first person you'll speak with is our intake support team. This is where we collect some preliminary information and learn a little bit about why you're reaching out to us. I mean, from there, you'll be connected with an information and referral advocate for more in-depth assistance. And they'll talk with you further about your concerns and provide guidance, resources, or helping you think through how to address a barrier, whether it's an equipment issue or something that falls under the ADA.
And what typically leads someone to reach out to DRM for assistive technology support?
Honestly, I think most people contact us when they've hit a barrier. I mean, this might be an insurance denial, a long delay in getting their equipment, or confusion about where to even begin the process. We also hear from people whose needs have changed. Maybe their condition has progressed and their current equipment no longer works for them.
And when we talk about assistive technology, what does that include? And why is it so important for people with disabilities?
Oh, assistive technology, I mean, it's really a broad term. It includes any item, software, or equipment or product that helps a person with a disability to increase or maintain their independence. I mean, that can range from something simple like grab bars or a reacher to more complex equipment like power wheelchairs or speech generating devices or environmental controls. Assistive technology is important because it directly impacts a person's ability to participate in everyday life. I mean, whether it's moving around safely, communicating, working, or living independently. It's very important.
And from your perspective, what's one thing you wish more people understood about access to assistive technology?
Well, I wish more people understood that access to AT isn't just about having the right insurance coverage or the correct funding source. It's often about just navigating them complex systems that I mentioned earlier. I
Hmm.
mean, insurance coverage rules can be so complicated, and people are often denied because of paperwork or misunderstandings, not
Hmm.
because they don't need the equipment.
Hmm.
So delays and denials, they're not just an inconvenience. They can mean loss of independence or health risks or even isolation.
Can you briefly explain the role that Medicare and Medicaid play in helping people access assistive technology?
Well, Medicare and Medicaid are two of the primary funding sources for a lot of assistive technology. Again, especially more of the complex or costly equipment.
Hmm.
Medicare typically covers durable medical equipment that is considered medically necessary for use in the home.
Hmm.
But Medicaid can be much broader, especially through Medicaid waiver programs. And they may cover additional supports like home modifications or specialized equipment. I mean,
Hmm.
both programs have strict rules about what they will cover and under what circumstances, so navigating those requirements can really be challenging.
And what are some of the limitations people should be aware of when relying on Medicaid for assistive technology?
Well, one major limitation is very specific. Equipment
Hmm.
has to meet really strict criteria, and even then, Medicaid may only cover like the most basic version of that equipment.
Hmm.
Another challenge is documentation, prior authorizations, and approvals. They all take time, and
Hmm.
often there are limits on upgrades or specialized equipment.
Hmm.
There can also be confusion about who is responsible for covering the cost of the equipment, especially in settings like nursing homes. Like whether, in that case, the question might be whether a piece of equipment is included in the facility's Medicaid per diem rate, or does it require a separate Medicaid authorization? I mean, these kind of questions come up a lot. So, I mean, every situation is unique,
Hmm.
and where it can really help, and this is where it can really help talk things through with an advocate.
And last question, if someone listening thinks they or someone they know could benefit from assistive technology, but they aren't sure where to start, what do you recommend they do?
Well, I always recommend starting by identifying the goal. What is the person trying to do that's currently difficult or maybe even impossible for them? I mean, from there, you can start to begin exploring options. I mean, depending on the type of AT and funding, you might need a prescription from your doctor or an evaluation from a physical therapist, occupational therapist, or a speech therapist. I mean, depending on the equipment.
Hmm.
But you can always contact Disability Rights Michigan, talk with an advocate, get some guidance. I
Hmm.
mean, and if the issues involve problems with accessing a building, service, or program, that might also be a rights issue under the ADA, and we can help with that as well.
Absolutely. All right, Sarah Healy, thank you so much for coming on, just providing all this great information.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That was our conversation with Sarah Healy from Disability Rights, Michigan. Now, let's turn to Caitlin Hurban with the Michigan Assistive Technology Program as we learn about their lending library, augmentative and alternative communication, and more.
The Michigan Assistive Technology Program, or MATP, has access to a bunch of resources and information for folks to learn about assistive technology in general.
Hmm.
We also provide demonstrations of assistive technology to people. So we meet them at their homes, their schools, their parks. We bring assistive technology to them, teach them how to use it. And then through our loan program, they have a chance to borrow those items so they can see if it actually works for them in their daily life,
Hmm.
with a little bit less pressure without somebody there, and to see how it actually fits into your daily life.
Hmm.
Our lending library has the better part of 2,000 different pieces of assistive technology in it. And we have assistive technology for all areas of life. So we have AAC, which is my area of expertise, but we also have assistive technology that can help with vision access, hearing access, things for smart home integration, cooking, cleaning, personal care, dressing. We have assistive technology to help with recreational activities, so arts and crafts, gaming like tabletop gaming, video game systems, computer access, outdoor recreation like fishing and camping and hiking and gardening, and AT really for any area of life that you can think of. We also provide training to folks around the state. So we will come to groups and teach them about what assistive technology is available and what it can do to help enhance people's lives. Our program serves the entire state of Michigan, the entire lifespan, and all disabilities. And we're really proud that every person on the Michigan Assistive Technology Program is a person with a disability.
For those who may not know, how would you describe augmentative and alternative communication assistive technology?
So when we talk about augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC, there's a few different parts to it. The augmentative part means communication that supplements or adds to speech. The alternative part means communication that takes the place of speech or instead of speech. And communication, of course, is that active process where we're exchanging ideas between two or more people. So when we put that all together, we're talking about all of the ways, methods, or modalities that people communicate other than speech. So it actually includes things like gestures and facial expression, body language, body movement, drawing, spelling, writing, text messages, emails. All of those are different forms of AAC. Now, people, when we talk about AAC, we're often thinking about AAC systems, which are more of a formal, structured system with pictures or text or both that help people organize their language to communicate it within that system. But AAC actually includes all sorts of different communication modalities.
And speaking more of AAC, what are some misconceptions people may have about AAC?
This is a great question because there are many misconceptions about AAC. The first one that comes to mind for me is that non-speaking doesn't mean non-thinking. And I think that there is a tendency for people to think that just because someone isn't using speech to communicate as their main communication modality, that they don't have a lot to say or that they're not taking in the things that are being said around them. And that is just not the case. Also, sometimes people might think that because someone uses speech to communicate some of the time, that that's the only way they need to communicate. And the truth is, we're all of us multimodal communicators. Everybody uses AAC to communicate. Some people benefit from having access to more of a formal AAC system. And so just because someone uses speech some of the time doesn't mean that it's always their preferred communication modality for a situation or their most efficient or most accessible. Our bodies and our brains can change from day to day and communication context to communication context. And the truly valuable thing about AAC systems is having access to that choice and that way for people to communicate how they want to. Another misconception about AAC is that these magical prerequisites for using AAC or learning to use an AAC system. And that's just not the case either. There are so many different ways to customize and adjust an AAC system to meet an individual's communication needs, that there's really just no reason to not start. Also, one thing that I think about a lot, particularly for children who are learning to use AAC systems, is that, just because they have an AAC system as one of their communication modalities doesn't mean they have to use it for every situation. So if a person has already used one communication modality to indicate something or to communicate something, that doesn't mean they have to also say it with their AAC system. So for example, if you have a child who uses an AAC system, but they go over to, the cupboard where the cookies are and they're pointing at that cupboard. They just told you because in your family, they know and everybody knows that the cookies are there and they're pointing to them. They let you know, hey, I'm hoping for some cookies right now. They shouldn't have to then be required to then use their AAC system to say, I want a cookie or cookies also. If they do that, that's great. That's awesome. That's their communication choice. But just because we use an AAC system doesn't mean we always use it because we are all multimodal communicators.
So one service MATP offers is their loan program service. How can someone looking to utilize AAC benefit from this service?
MATPs lending library offers a loan program for a wide variety of assistive technology, like I mentioned earlier, including some AAC. We have some light tech AAC, some mid tech AAC, and some high tech AAC in the form of the tablet-based systems with a huge variety of AAC apps, most of the very popular ones and some less popular ones, which I think gives people an advantage to see kind of all the different options that are available. And we can help people get access to AAC that they might not otherwise have been able to afford to try out or take the risk of purchasing and then have it not work for them. Sometimes it might look like a school district's lending library is maxed out, or there's a wait to borrow an item someplace else, or their private speech therapist is having a hard time getting a loaner device. And we can help folks get access to that AAC so there's less waiting time, and they have a tool to borrow. Oftentimes, most often, they're working in conjunction with their speech therapist so they can figure out all the different ways to customize the system so that it can work the best for them.
So, looking ahead, what excites you about the future of AAC or assistive technology?
There are so many things, so many exciting things happening in the field of assistive technology right now. We're really in a very interesting period of growth. And one thing about AAC in particular that I'm excited about is that there are more and more customization options so that we can truly reflect individuals' communication preferences and perspectives. And I think that's really exciting to see more companies making an effort to offer a variety of symbols and voices and things like that. I also really love seeing more integration with other technology and assistive technology with AAC systems. At MITP, we love us some multifunctional assistive technology. So we love when an AAC system can also, help with environmental control. So people can turn lights on and off. They can turn music on and off in their homes. They can use the same device to send emails and to listen to audiobooks. And we love those multi-purpose pieces of assistive technology. I also think about AAC moving forward. I think, there's more and more conversation about what is AAC. And I think, increasing the awareness and understanding and celebration of all of the many diverse and valid ways people communicate is a very, very exciting thing to look forward to.
And last question, if someone listening thinks AAC might help them or a loved one, what's a good first step they can take?
First, I just want to say that considering that someone might need AAC is a massive step. There are so many people who go so long without access to an AAC system. And everyone has the right to communicate their wants, their needs, their preferences, their dreams, their ideas, when, where, and how they choose. In the state of Michigan, if you're, between birth and age 26, checking in with your local school district can be a great place to start. You can also check in with your pediatrician or your primary care physician. Same thing for adults. Your primary care physician can make a referral to a speech language therapist for you. And always, regardless of your situation, or if you have more questions or want to get an overview of what process might look like, you can always reach out to the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, and we can help you figure out circumstances or options that are particular for you. And you can reach out to us at mi-at.org.
All right, perfect. Caitlin, thank you so much. And hopefully look forward to speaking to you again.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning into another edition of Possibilities. I'd like to thank our guests for an excellent conversation and wish them all the best going forward. If you or someone you know could benefit from the information shared today, you can find more details and helpful links in the episode's description. Be sure to follow along with future episodes by visiting ddi.wayne.edu/possibilities podcast. Until next time, keep exploring your possibilities.